Powers. I run the LA office for Recruitix, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about programmatic advertising. Who here has heard of programmatic advertising before 5 minutes ago? I'm surprised because it's been a hot topic in the last year. So I like to call it the power juicer for your jobs budget. And the reason I like to do that is, who here has a juicer at home? Okay, now, of those juicers, how many do you need to plug into the wall? Yes, that's the juicer I'm talking about. So there's the juicer where you cut the orange in half and you squish it down on the pointy thing and you get a quarter cup of orange juice. Then there's the juicer where you plug it into the wall and you drop the whole orange in, peel and all, and you get a gallon of orange juice. Not really, but you get the idea. A lot easier and a lot more yield. That's what programmatic does for your sponsored jobs budget. If we move on, there are basically 4 factors, right? You've got the market, you've got your jobs, you've got your strategy, and you've got your analytics. Most people are pretty clear on their market. They definitely know what jobs they need to hire for. Strategy gets a little bit cloudy, and then analytics gets super fuzzy, especially when we're talking about cost per hire, cost per apply, quality of cost per hire. Those get a little scary, a little hard to track. What I love about programmatic is you're feeding it through a platform that enables you to track metrics like cost per click, cost per app, cost per hire, cost per lead, cost per quality lead, cost per quality hire. Yes. So, moving on to the next slide. Maybe. I can keep talking. So what the difference is between your standard job post or, oh, thank you, a clicker. That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, so typically what happens is you plan, you execute, you analyze, you discover, you repeat. Kind of reminds you of the ad from the 1980s, rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat for your shampoo. Same thing for your, hopefully if you're doing it right, for your hiring strategy. You want to have at least some meaningful KPIs to understand what works, what doesn't, stop spending money where it's not working, divert those funds where it is working, and come up with a new strategy for where it wasn't working, because chances are good you still need to hire there, you just need to figure out how to do it better. So, programmatic job advertising takes that information in the form of a feed or an API call, or God forbid a scrape from your site, and pulls all of that information about all of your jobs into a platform. Dun, dun, dun. In the platform, it is then able to tag and acknowledge clicks, applies, anything before it goes into your ATS at the job level and at the source level. And then, not only that, it gets so much better, it's also able to understand rules. So someone who's running your programmatic platform can talk to you and say, oh, you only need 5 applicants for 1 hire? Great. I'm going to tell this rule to stop spending money on this job when you get 5 applicants. And then that money goes to the next role. Or you need to spend $500 per applicant. You know this, so we've figured out the budget. We turn the budget off when we hit a certain target. Automatically, we can write that rule into it. Okay, we're only hiring purple swirls in Coeur d'Alene. Turn it off once we're there. These rules, we can create rules, wrap those rules around the feed, and then send those feeds out to the vendors. Now we're no longer relying on the vendor to do what's right for cost per click or cost per app. Suddenly we're in control, sending exactly what we want sponsored out, wrapped in rules that dictate how long it's sponsored, how much it's sponsored for, how much we're gonna spend on a click for that job, and how much we're gonna spend on an apply for that job. And when we're done spending, we're gonna stop sponsoring. And no one has to do anything after we wrap that feed in that rule and send it out. That's programmatic advertising. No. So, traditional approach. You see job one and how many applicants you need and how many extras you get. But you're still spending all the money as if you're getting all those applicants. But you don't need all those applicants. You only need that many applicants. When you're using programmatic, you only spend on the applicants you need, then you're done. Then you move that money. I know everybody in talent acquisition has a lot of money. So I know this isn't a primary concern for everybody, but for those of you who have budget constraints, how great is it that you can control it just by talking to the person who's running your programmatic platform and saying, I only want 20 applicants. How much do I need to spend for 20 applicants? Or turn it off after I get 20 applicants. And then also, that money gets diverted to the next priority that we've identified. So what problems can it solve for? 4 basics, right? You've got the what rule. You're trying to automate sponsorship of the jobs based on a keyword. What do you want to sponsor? Just nurses? Okay. You can build a rule around the keyword nurse. The fire alarm rule. You guys ever have fire alarms when you're hiring? Demand, urgent need, must divert funds, must bring in X amount of some emergent need I've never heard of before. You can boost a job instantly. Send an email to the person who manages your platform. Hey, here's $500. We need to up the spend on these jobs. We're not getting the response we need, and we need 6 hires by tomorrow morning. Done. The stop rule. This is the one I've already alluded to. Stop spending when you hit whatever parameter you were trying to hit. No longer is the day where you spend $500 for a monster job posting and you have no idea what you're going to get. No more post and pray. You can control your spend and control your outcome. And then the slow out of the gate. If you have jobs, and I mean this should be your rule of thumb. This is your gimme. Slow out of the gate, that should be anything that you're sponsoring, anything that is on the web anywhere. Do not sponsor that job the day you post it. Does anyone know why? That job is fresh meat. It is new content on the web. It's automatically going to get amazing eyes and great traffic because it's new. All of those algorithms, all of those data monsters are going to raise that right up. So you can write a rule to say, hey, don't sponsor this the first week. Start sponsoring it the second week when people get bored with it. And it falls down to the bottom of your search results. Suddenly you're sponsoring it, now it goes back up. Guess what? You just saved a week's worth of sponsoring because it was already getting a lot of eyes on it and you're playing to the aging rule. So this is kind of a pathway for how programmatic works. You're adding a job into your feed. It gets recognized automatically. It gets picked up when the feed gets fed across. Typically it's 3-4 times a day. Then it goes to broad distribution, whatever strategy you've decided upon with the person who's running your platform for you. Multiple jobs going out, coming back to one link. And then you have the benefit of this tracking and tagging from the feed to tell you, hey, you're doing great, keep at it, or hey, this data doesn't look right, let's make some optimizations. This is the fun one. So this is essentially how programmatic works in its ideal state. Stay with me. So the spend on hard to fill, right? The money is going to those challengers where we know it's either high demand and low volume, or it's a rare job, or it's in a rural location, or you're trying to hire 1,000 people for the same job. So that money demands a higher CPA. So you're sending a feed of all your jobs, but you're creating rules that identify these challengers, spend on a higher CPA for these challengers, And then the ones that are non-converters, where you're spending like the dickens, but you're not getting any results, those fall out. They give in. They call uncle, and that's where we go back to you and say, we're not spending on these anymore, this isn't working, let's try these strategies. Meanwhile, when they fall out, that money gets freed up, moves over to the performers. Performers are the jobs that everybody loves. They perform all day and night. They're usually not very expensive from a cost per click perspective, and they drive results. However, we don't want to waste money, so that's where we set goals. We only need to hire 100 people. If you do that in 2 days, it shuts off. Once that shuts off, the money flows forward to the over-deliverers. Oh, sorry, I was just talking about the over-deliverers. Once they're over-delivering on traffic, or they're delivering the wrong kind of traffic, that money diverts, and the cycle continues. So, it's responsible, it's intuitive, and it's manipulative. You get to go in and be nimble about your goals and about your money so that you're spending only exactly what you need to spend. Oh, and then just a real quick recap. I probably should have put this first, because if you guys don't know this stuff, I need to start over. So, your tracking analytics. These are all things that we can derive from the feed, and the performance of these metrics are what help drive improvements to strategy. Your job visits, obviously, your applications, the quality of your applications, and your hires. And then depending on your ATS and what kind of data you have and how far into the funnel you track it, we can also, in a symbiotic way, report back to you on the quality of the hire and the cost of the quality of the hire and all the way down into the funnel as far as you're able to report, because of those unique identifiers at the job level, at the candidate level. That was the last one.